Welcome to the deep dive. You know that feeling, right? You grab a new financial app. Maybe it's got some revolutionary feature.
Instant transfers, maybe. AI investing.
Exactly. And for a minute, it feels really cutting edge. But then, well, pretty quickly, every other bank or fintech rolls out something that looks, almost identical. And that flash of genius suddenly feels, well, kind of generic.
Yeah.
So today, we're diving into something really central to digital banking. Are these institutions actually building lasting success by constantly chasing the next killer feature? Or is that maybe just a trap?
It's a really good question. And it's something a lot of companies are wrestling with. They get caught in this cycle, almost obsessively copying or buying or trying to invent the next big thing.
Hoping for that quick media buzz.
Right, hoping for buzz for differentiation.
Sure.
But our sources today, especially this great article from UXDA, they're a design firm focused on finance. It suggests something else, that, sustainable success, it lies deeper. It's about aligning the digital service with a real strategic vision. Something rooted in a clear brand promise and, crucially, an emotional connection with customers.
That's exactly what we want to unpack. Our mission here is to figure out why just focusing on features, that feature-first approach, might actually backfire in the long run, and how a different strategy, maybe a brand-first one, could build much, much deeper loyalty. Think of this as your shortcut, really, to understanding differentiation, not just in banking, but maybe any field where product and brand have to meet.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's dig into this illusion of the killer feature. That idea of, say, super fast payments or a slick robo-advisor. See, it seems so appealing, right, for banks, fintechs.
Oh, absolutely. Irresistible.
It promises instant attention, standing out from the crowd. But our sources call it an illusion. Why? Why do so many financial companies default to this, even though it sounds risky?
Well, a lot of it is just historical inertia, Financial services traditionally have been very technical. The focus was always on regulations, risk, the hard numbers.
Interest rates, fees, that sort of thing.
Exactly. That stuff. There's been this deep-seated idea that financial products are those numbers, not necessarily the experience around them or the story the brand tells.
Ah, okay.
Plus, you add in the structure of big organizations. Often you've got product teams here, marketing over there, branding somewhere else. Completely siloed.
Right, working in isolation.
And that naturally leads to features being developed almost as standalone things without that bigger picture.
So if that's the mindset, how does it actually play out? What does features-first development look like on the ground?
It's usually pretty linear. Starts with defining specific features, like, okay, we need a new savings account type or a loan with this specific rate or maybe a retirement product.
Got it. The what?
The what? Exactly. Then these bits get assembled into some kind of offering. And the branding, the name, logo, colors that often get slapped on near the end, like a coat of paint. And only then do they figure out the processes around it, like onboarding or how to market this thing they've built.
That really does sound like building the house by picking the curtains first, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The source says relying only on features is precarious. What are the actual dangers? Why is it so risky?
Well, the biggest one probably is that features just get copied so easily.
Right.
Think about that killer feature you spent months building. It's basically a temporary advantage. Your competitors are watching, and they can often replicate it, sometimes even improve on it really quickly.
In months sometimes.
Yeah, the fintech space is absolutely littered with examples of first movers getting overtaken because their only edge was a feature that everyone else adopted. And tied to that is just how fast tech changes, right?
Oh, yeah. Obsolescence.
Today's must-have is tomorrow's basic expectation, or maybe even irrelevant.
I can definitely relate to that as a user. You download an app for one cool thing, but then you're just swimming in menus, or you jump ship when someone else does it a bit cleaner.
Precisely. That's the feature overload problem. Cramming everything in doesn't actually make it better. It just overwhelms people. The experience becomes about wrestling with the software, not, feeling supported financially.
Yeah.
And that points to a bigger, more fundamental issue. It's often not aligned with the overall business strategy. If features are driving the train without a clear destination, well, you risk going off the rails mission-wise.
And the brand itself, what happens to the actual brand identity in that scenario?
It gets diluted. Or maybe it never even forms properly, just adding a logo at the end that doesn't create a cohesive experience. Customers struggle to tell you apart from anyone else offering similar functions.
Makes sense.
And crucially, it often means there's a limited focus on what customers really need deep down. The priority becomes technical capability, not solving actual pain points, which leads to low engagement, people drifting away.
So you miss the chance to connect.
You miss huge opportunities for real differentiation. Without that brand story, that identity as your starting point, you can't tell a unique story or build that crucial emotional connection.
Okay, that makes a really strong case against just focusing on features.
Yep.
So if the killer feature is often an illusion, what is the secret sauce? What actually builds that long-term loyalty, that lasting success?
It really comes down to a strong brand. And I don't just mean logos or taglines,
Right, not just the surface stuff.
No, it's about building an actual relationship.
Yeah.
An emotional bond. Think about it in a world where tons of apps can do basically the same thing.
Yeah, functionally identical sometimes.
Exactly. People increasingly choose the brands that mean something to them. Brands that align with their values or just make them feel understood, feel secure, feel empowered.
That feels like a really fundamental shift in perspective. So if feature first starts with the what, where does a brand first company kick things off? How does that look different?
It's a totally different starting point. They begin by defining their purpose, their why. What are their goals in the market? What's the core business strategy?
Okay.
They use things like deep customer journey mapping, real user research to understand the landscape and figure out how they can be genuinely different. Then they build a brand around that aligned with core values, designed to actually resonate with the people they want to reach.
And the features come later.
The features come after that foundation is set. The digital experience is then designed specifically to reflect that brand promise, to meet those validated customer needs. Features are integrated thoughtfully, cohesively, and the marketing reinforces that deeper value, not just the function.
That sounds much more integrated, more solid somehow.
Yeah.
What are the payoff? What are the clear benefits of going brand first?
Well, right away, you get better market differentiation. It's baked in from the start. When your product grows out of a clear brand strategy, it just naturally stands out.
It has a personality?
It has a personality,
Yeah.
exactly. And that leads to deeper customer loyalty, better retention. People connect with that authenticity, they stick around, churn goes down
And for growth, does it help there too?
massively. It allows for flexible, scalable growth because the strategy and the brand are the North Star guiding innovation. You can expand, add new things without, watering down who you are.
So you're building something that's actually hard to copy, not just the tech, but the feeling, the connection.
Precisely. That's differentiation that lasts. Competitors can clone a feature, sure, but they can't easily replicate that emotional resonance, that cultural meaning a strong brand builds over time.
Like a commitment to a certain community or a feeling of empowerment.
Yes, whether it's empowering the underbanked or delivering financial freedom, if it's authentic and consistent, it becomes part of the bank's DNA. That's powerful. And one more thing, brand trust fuels adoption.
Ah, interesting. How so?
When customers genuinely trust your brand, they're much more willing to try new things you offer. Rolling out new features becomes way easier, more successful, because that trust is already there.
Okay, so bringing this all together, what does it mean for, say, a bank or a fintech listening right now? Features obviously still matter. You need convenience, speed, personalization.
Oh, absolutely. They're table stakes in many ways.
But you're saying they need to serve something bigger, a strategic story. How do companies actually do that? How do you successfully marry essential features with that brand promise?
Well, the digital world has just jacked up expectations, right? People don't just want functional. They demand experiences that are smooth, intuitive, and, emotionally satisfying.
Frictionless is the word you hear a lot.
Frictionless, exactly. So to get there, first, you absolutely have to begin with strategy. Define your vision.
Yeah.
Seriously ask, what do we stand for? Whose problems are we truly solving? How do we want people to feel when they interact with us?
And that clarity helps decide which features matter.
It dictates which features are relevant. It keeps you focused, which leads to the second point. Stay relentlessly customer-centric. Before you add the next shiny object, the next bell or whistle, ask, does this actually advance our brand promise? Or does it just look good on the roadmap?
Good question to ask.
Prioritize the features that genuinely amplify your identity and solve real customer needs you've identified. And finally, integrate the brand everywhere. Consistency is absolutely key.
Every touch point.
Every single touch point. Your promise has to be obvious from the website and the app interface. The colors, the layout, right down to the tone of voice in customer service emails or chatbots.
So if your brand is about, say, Financial empowerment.
then everything, the app design, the language you use, the educational content, the features themselves, everything should reinforce that mission. Features should actually enable financial control, not just exist.
Wow. This deep dive really throws that distinction into sharp relief, doesn't it? That contrast between just rolling out features quickly versus building something deeper.
It's easy to miss in the rush.
Yeah, the feature-first way might seem faster, get you quick launches, but it sounds like it really hinders genuine differentiation and that long-term connection. It's way more than just what your product does.
It's who you are as a brand.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that seamless, user-friendly digital experience. It's not just a functional tick box anymore. It's a massive opportunity to leave a lasting emotional imprint.
Every click matters.
Every click, every screen transition, every notification either builds up that bond or chips away at it. And the beauty of digital is you can keep evolving it, right? Use data on how people actually behave to make sure your updates always align with that core brand promise.
That brings up a really good question for you listening right now. When you look at the apps and services you use, especially financial ones, can you actually feel the brand behind the features? Or is it just functions? What really stands out to you? And for any financial companies thinking about making this shift, our source laid out some pretty clear steps. It starts with revisiting your core mission, your values,
Right.
really interrogating them.
Yeah, get back to basics. Then bring those different teams, product, marketing, brand, tech together early. Foster real collaboration from day one.
And invest in understanding your customers, right?
Yeah,
Deep research into their needs, their feelings, those emotional triggers.
absolutely crucial. Then develop that cohesive brand strategy. That might mean shifting resources, really putting weight behind building that identity. And finally,
Align everything.
align everything. All your business processes, from compliance checks to customer service scripts, make sure they all echo those core brand values you've defined.
This has been the deep dive. We really hope this gives you a new lens to look through when thinking about digital banking and what truly makes a difference. So maybe the next time you open your banking app, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, am I connecting with these features? Or am I connecting with the brand behind them? And what does that tell you about where your loyalty really lies? Until next time.